Grow, Sell, and Retire is a podcast for aspirational entrepreneurs and inspirational business owners who want to work less, earn more, and even more importantly, have an awesome time while doing it. Your host, B.D. Dalton, author of True Gravity, is here to give you the systems, processes, and actions for you to create the wealth that you've always dreamt about. Get your pencil, paper, and brain ready for secrets and top tips from his 25 years of experience in helping people build wealth. Here's your host, B.D. Dalton.
Hey everybody, welcome to Grow, Sell, and Retire. I'm B.D. Dalton, and I am here to give you the lazy overachiever tips, tricks, and secrets to make sure that they can grow, sell, and retire in a better way. So today we're going to talk about retiring. And just want to tell you, none of this is financial advice. This is all just common sense advice and things that people should just know. But I've learned them over the last 25 years working with people to try to make sure that they stayed wealthy and not got rich. But I really wanted to go through 3 different concepts that overall make sure that you're thinking about your money, your wealth, when you're trying to grow your business and get ready to sell it or to truly retire from employment. This is what you need to think about, or how I tell my clients that they need to look at it. The very first one is think of a magic drawer. In this magic drawer, just imagine that you woke up every morning and you had a magic drawer beside your bed that had a note in it of your currency, whether it's dollars or pounds, euros, Australian dollars, Canadian dollars, whatever else it is. Let's make sure that that drawer is sat right beside your bed. Every day you wake up and you open that drawer and there is a pound note or a dollar note in it every day. Just repeating, like a golden goose that's laying golden eggs that's sitting right there in front of you. What pound note is that? Take a second, visualize it, and think about it. Is it $100? Is it $200? What is it? You need to really look at that, start to kick back, and this is what it is. It needs to make you feel good. It doesn't mean to make you feel like you've got a yacht and Ferrari, unless that's exactly what you're trying to do. But what you need to look at is if everything is already paid for, your mortgage, the kids have moved out, even though they never stop asking you for money, but the kids have moved out. So overall, you need to look at your budget. So your budget, to make sure that everything's paid for, that's your comfort blanket. That makes sure that you feel like you're in a good place. Now, the next space we need to move to is abundancy. So abundancy, making it from scarcity to abundancy, is basically looking at if we had a budget that everything is paid for, now we want to go have some fun. So what dollar bill or pound note would be sitting in that drawer when you opened it every day? 100, 200 quid. And then what we do is you take it and you look at it and say 100 pounds. If 100 pounds overall looks like what actually ends up being $36,500 or pounds. So how do you make sure that you have 36,500 pounds or 36,500 of your currency in your bank account, in your checkbook, in today's money, every day of the week, every day of the year? So if you're doing that, very simple rules are, and we'll look through this, but it's 5% is typically what you can pull off of an investment account or something like that, or what you can expect to get in rents. And you make sure that your assets, the things that you own, the businesses, the properties, and your portfolios are trying to generate 5% return, that actual payable return to you. Which means that for all the other costs and everything else, you need to be doing about 7% overall, year on year, throughout your retirement, or to give you the opportunity to retire. So if you work that back, if you need to have 50,000 pounds or $50,000, you need to have assets typically totaling $1 million or pounds. So if you're going to make that magic drawer and you open it up at January 1 every year and it has 50,000 pounds in it or $50,000, you need to have $1 million or £1,000,000 sat somewhere generating you that paycheck to fill the magic drawer. So the magic drawer is that thought process around all the stuff that you like to do, like your holidays, your vacations, giving the grandkids or the kids presents, or if you're going to be a skier, which is spending the kids' inheritance, it's definitely a very cool thing. Because lots of our kids, we've raised them to be successful and they can go out and make their own money. But when you look at it, you also have to look at that's $100 or 100 pounds in today's money. And if you're a young person, a young investor, a 35-year-old, 45-year-old, like me, more or less, is what you need to do is you need to look at what's that going to be in tomorrow's money. So not only do you have to know what it looks like in today's money, but you need to make sure that you know how to grow it. So the second thing is, and I might be teaching Granny to suck eggs, but this is one of my favorite ones, and I use this almost every time I'm meeting a new client. We look at the rule of 72. If you don't know what the rule of 72 is, let's keep it really simple. Pull out a piece of paper and a pencil, which is what we talk about right at the beginning in the intro. Pull out a piece of paper and a pencil. Now write the number 72. Write a line below it, so a dividing line. And below that, I want you to write the number 10. So now you've done that, 72 over 10. If you divide those, what does it come out with? 7.2, right? So what that means is that the rule of 72 is 72 divided by your interest rate. So if you're getting 10% on your investments, that's phenomenal. But it's, you probably wouldn't expect that every year. But if you're growing it at 10%, it's going to take you 7.2 years to double your money if you don't take an income and you don't have extra taxes and you don't have all these different things. But if you're growing it at 10%, then you're going to have a double of your money. So for every pound you have in today, growing at 10%, in 7.2 years, you should have 2 pounds there or $2 there. So really, the rule of 72 is to make sure that the type of interest you're getting. So if you're thinking very simply right now in this horrible interest rate environment, 72% divided by 1 means your money's going to double every 72 years. Oh, that's horrible. This is one of those times when if you're trying to grow your money, you need to make sure you've got a spread of things because cash is not king right now unless you're buying something very soon. So once again, it's not financial advice. It's just common sense advice. And people that my old Grandma D told me about this and just said, make sure that you've got enough stuff out there so that when everything goes wrong, you've got something that's going right. So rule of 72. And the very last thing, and this comes from years and years and years looking at people's portfolios, looking at businesses that only focused in one area. Just imagine if you had a VCR company, and some people are out there, some of the millennials and people like that are going, VCR, what's a VCR? VCR is what happened before the DVD and actually between the laser disc and the DVD. But I'm dating myself there. You look at this, and diversification is an amazing thing. And diversification, I'm not only talking about your diversification of your portfolios and the assets you have in there. So if you get to a certain point of having so much cash, then you need to have investments. Once you get to the certain point of having that much investments, you need to move on to possibly property or investing in other things like businesses. But you really need to make sure in this diversification. So the third step here is diversification of spreading out and diversifying what you're doing with your money. The second thing is when you're looking at this retirement picture, because we're talking about the magic drawer and retirement, is what about your work-life balance? Because it's going to go from being a work-life balance to being all life and no work. Are you ready for that? Mentally, in your head, are you ready to not be able to go into work and not have a routine? Because when you don't have a routine, it throws us off. We talk about that all the time. A routine helps us feel comfortable. And what routine are you going to go settle into? That's what you really need to look at. So you need to diversify your work-life balance. So you diversified your assets, you diversified your work-life balance, and the other one I put down here, which I've kind of alluded to already, is diversifying that routine. So make sure that if you have another love, whether it's sailing, whether it's golfing, whether it's taking care of the grandkids, or actually being a non-exec director, have you done the research to know what it takes to be a non-exec director? Have you already started to make contacts, which is one of the things I love to do for my clients, is try to get them to be non-exec directors when they're getting ready to retire or they're getting ready to sell their business. Let's keep your finger on the pulse. Let's make sure that you keep your thumb in a pie and that you're really engaging with your brain. Because when people lose that routine, and this is the beauty that happened around the old Social Security system, is Social Security was built when people would retire and 2 years later die. But guess what? Now, with the longevity in all of our businesses and the longevity in all of our people, they're moving the retirement date up to, our kids will be retiring at 72, 73, and they'll still have 25 years in retirement, just like we're supposed to now. So how is Social Security going to be able to handle that? But the way that you can make yourself better and stronger and have a better life when you grow, sell, and retire is to make sure that you're engaged. Make sure that you've got things going on, whether that's business, whether that's charity, whether get into your church, whatever it is, you need to make sure you're engaging with people, that you're engaging your brain and not just a crossword. This is really getting out there, but you have to prepare for it. You have to know what you like to do. This is why cooking classes and going back to school for they call it University of the Third Age over here, is that next stage. Okay, I've already done everything. How do I get out there? Do you mentor? Things like that. Just really making sure that you're really engaged. So we've talked a lot about today retiring. The magic drawer is making sure you have that budget. How is that thing, that cash generator, your business, your investments, your retirement planning, how is that all going to make sure that it's putting that magic paycheck into that drawer every year or every day of the week? How are you going to make sure that's happening? Use the rule of 72 to make sure that your investments are spread over far enough so it's doubling to make sure it keeps up with inflation, because nothing worse than having cash sat in the bank that's worth less than when you actually put it in the bank, because it can't buy as much due to inflation, due to the rising cost of everything else, due to making sure that the economy keeps going. So make sure you're taking part in growth, whether that's business, whether that's investments, whatever else it is. You need to be taking part in growth, because cash is only king if you need to buy something later. And just make sure you're diversified with your time, your work-life balance, and making sure that you're doing the right things for you. And he gets in there. I'd love to come out to talk to you about Grow, Sell, and Retire. There's all sorts of resources on the Facebook page, Grow, Sell, and Retire. There's also things for the podcast. Go back and check out the back catalog, because there's some great stuff in there. We're making sure that we get some podcasts coming up, that I've got some great people coming on here. I've got the person that actually I bought my first book off of when it came to sales. Stefan Schiffman is going to come and talk to us about cold calling techniques and selling techniques that you should be applying to your business today. Steve Moore, my personal business coach for many years, is going to come on and talk to us about teams and systems and making sure that there's things that you're getting out there in that wow process that we've talked about before. He's going to have some very, very smart people like Tim Noonan come on and talk about his book, Someday Rich, and where he's going to talk to people about what they should really, really be thinking about when it comes to money. But overall, I want to make sure that you can grow, sell, and retire. And the easiest way to do that is for you to spread the word. So if you want to make sure that your friends believe and are there for you and believe the same way that you do, that things should really happen to make it so everybody can grow, sell, and retire. Because I want all my friends there on the beach or wherever we're going to be to enjoy ourselves and have fun. So I'm B.D. Dalton for Grow, Sell, and Retire. Secrets, tips, and tricks for the lazy overachiever. Talk to you soon. Peace out.
Thanks for joining us on Grow, Sell, and Retire. For more information, tools, or to book one of our team members to work with your team, business, or to speak at your event or conference, visit bartdaltonconsulting.com or email contact@bartdaltonconsulting.com. Buy the book True Gravity on Amazon. If you want to work for the rest of your life, that is your business. If you don't, that is ours.